Okay, are we ready? Let's call this meeting of the Architectural Design and Planning Commission to order. Okay, let's pledge the flag. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Chairman Carter, absent. Vice Chair Bartlett.
Present.
Commissioner Chant.
Present.
Commissioner Despain.
Present.
Commissioner McDonald.
Present.
Commissioner Tufts, absent. We have a quorum.
Public business from the floor. Any person who would like to address the Architectural and Design Commission on any agendized item is requested to complete a speaker card for the recording secretary and identify the agenda item you would like to discuss. Each person will be given an opportunity to address the Architectural and Design Commission at the time such item is discussed by the Architectural and Design Commission. Speaker cards available at the entrance of council chambers. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Okay, so the first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from regular meeting of January 10th, 2019. I move that we approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Did everyone vote yes? No? Were there any no's?
We voted, but
Do you want us to do it again?
Can you just vote again, really quick?
Okay.
Sorry.
Vote again?
mine's flashing.
Let's just take a try it again. Hit it again. We jumped the gun, I guess.
Motion passes.
Okay, on to new business. Measure R interchange project presented by Jocelyn Swain and Mike Livingston.
Good evening, Vice Chair Bartlett, Commissioners. I'll be discussing today, well, if I can get the PowerPoint to work, hang on one second. I'll be discussing today the landscape design concepts we have for the Measure R freeway projects. Measure R is a half-a-cent sales tax for the Los Angeles County to finance new transportation projects and programs and accelerate those that are already in the pipeline. The tax took effect in July 2009, and Measure R alone does not fully fund all the projects, but the measure contains an expenditure plan that identifies the projects to be funded and additional funding sources that will be used to complete these projects. Currently we have 5 projects that are in the queue within our jurisdiction. So we're looking at Avenue J, Avenue K, Avenue M, Avenue L, and Avenue G. Now, with regard to these projects, you guys do have the PowerPoint in front of you. So if we would move to what would be your page 3, you would see the upcoming CIP budget and schedule. Which, technical difficulties, I don't need that, I can roll. So as we look at Avenue J and we look at the total budget allocation, for this particular project is $23.3 million, and the funding period is from 2014 to 2020. Avenue K is $28.2 million, and the funding period is from 2012 to 2022, followed by Avenue M. Here we go. Followed by Avenue M at $36.6 million from 2012 to 2023. Avenue L at projects forward for an approved environmental document, at which time we will begin to look for other funding sources to fully fund those projects. The total cost currently is $90.9 million for all 5 of the projects. I know in the report that you guys were given previously, we held off on updating the numbers until we got approval from Metro on the funding, so there will be some corrections to the report that you guys had received on Monday. So if we jump right into the design standards and kind of look at the corridor elements, when you look at the city's broken out into several specific areas based on economic development and planning. So you have the Avenue I corridor area, Valley Central, or Valley Center, or Front Row Center, what is called the Boulevard District, of course, Mid-City, College West, and then Parkway Village, or Sergeant Owen City Park, and then, of course, the Sierra Gateway Transit, or Sierra Highway corridor, the Transit Village, South Employment Center, and then Fox Airfield. Each with their corresponding areas, as you can see, and you can pick up on the colors. When you take a look at the wayfinding signage as we move forward, these particular areas are going to be color-coded based on the signs that will be placed on the freeway, as well as any of the signage that goes out through the city. So as people are coming in and out of the city, they have, they can designate, or they know, hey, I want to go over to College West, I'm going to look for the maroon sign. So we try to lay it out, make it as simple as possible. When we look at the design guidelines, the standards, and best practices, what we did is you look at the general area, right? So we have aviation, aerospace, you've got the desert, you've got the California poppy, you've got the San Gabriel and Tehachapi Mountains, right? The Antelope Valley as a whole, pronghorn antelope. So all of these things we kind of looked at, and we presented to Caltrans, right? It's going to be something more than placing a simple airplane on a stick and calling that landscape and design, right? So as we move into the different materials and colors that we looked at, and again, this is for Caltrans, and it's located in Caltrans right-of-way. So I'm presenting this to you all to, number one, that way you're not blindsided and you actually get to see what's going on. And then also on some of the things that we look at, like you say, I don't know, I don't see racing horses around here too much. What we did is we wanted to push the envelope with Caltrans, especially with District 7. So we took all of these design features are from different districts within Caltrans where cities have received approvals. And so we wanted to push the design envelope as best we could to try to incorporate what we feel as a local municipality would be pertinent to our specific area. So on a lot of these design features that you see, the materials, the colors, the finishes, they're all going to relate to the desert. Okay, so, right, it's we're going to base it on the ecosystem with which we live. It's not, we're not going to try to build a rainforest out there as we go through. Plus, with the limited budget, it won't allow for that. These are transportation funds, so we have a limited budget for each project. We would be allocating approximately $1.8 million toward landscape design and implementation. So when we look at when you look at the slopes, the relief of the land, and landform graphics, a couple of the aesthetics that we go with. Landform graphics is just a simple technical term for using colored concrete and putting designs in concrete. As you can see, this is also with an open concept. When you use concrete like this, or rock blankets, or things like that, that's also called aggressive architecture. Okay, and the reason why they call it aggressive is because it's not very comfortable out there. Okay, so this also combats any other issues that Caltrans may have within their right-of-ways, especially in and among the freeway on-ramps and off-ramps. As you can see, we have decorative stamp concrete that can go on the tieback walls, which you'll see underneath the bridges. Currently at Avenue I believe we have poppies underneath there. Here we have what they call a rock blanket. All of these, the rock blanket and things like that are secured in concrete, so it's not something that, somebody can pick up and throw a car or anything like that. One of the key things I want you to look at here in the top corner of this picture is the roundabouts. On these particular projects, Avenue M has 2 roundabouts and Avenue G has 2 roundabouts. This will be our opportunity to place public art within the middle of those roundabouts. However, it has to be approved by Caltrans. So as we go out and we start to look at these things, we need to keep in mind that everything has to be run through Caltrans and we have to have prior approval before installation. We like to typically do that at design, but we understand that those things can change on the fly, and we do have an opportunity, but it may delay the projects as we move forward. Again, some more wall features and some relief. I know at Avenue K, believe it or not, we do have walls like this throughout the on-ramp and off-ramp. You just can't see them right now because there's, bushes and everything else that are currently in the way. So what we would do as we go in, we would look at wall treatments and then also rock and native plants, desert plants. It would actually be a xeriscape type design. And as we look at the bridge abutments, there's also treatments that we can do along the bridges, and in particular the bridge railings. So I know you see a lot of those. As you leave LA County, you head into Orange County, maybe you're going to Disneyland, you kind of see those kind of things that make a freeway pop, or if you head to Vegas or even down to San Diego and those areas. Those other districts have embraced making those changes as long as it doesn't impede or hinder the structural integrity of the bridges. So finally, as we look at implementation, we'll move through each one of the projects. And I'll kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at in terms of, the native desert plants, whether we're using DG, rock blankets, or the landform graphics. This is just an example of a wayfinding sign. Okay, this isn't something that we've decided on. But what we have done is we've pushed the design envelope to get approval to see what our parameters would be. So moving forward, as we look at Avenue J, the design concept, is an opportunity for a future park here on this triangular piece. However, when you look at the different elements, we're incorporating the decorative rock blankets, the landform graphics, as well as native planting. So currently, what you see in the top corner here is the existing. And then this would be an example of your landform graphics with some relief on the walls, and then sparse rocks, and then you'll have your, or boulders, and then you'll have your desert scape tucked away in there. Now, what we're trying to do when we look at these issues is we also look at the amount of water we're using currently, and then how we can cut back on that. So there is cost savings there. Caltrans doesn't, they don't push for the big lush areas in terms of maintenance, and then also it's not consistent with our the water saving standards that the state has brought forward and adopted. So if we look at Avenue K is a very large interchange. It's one of the largest interchanges we do have in the city. It's one of the most, it's one with the most traffic, going to both Commerce to the east to 10th Street West, and then also as a major gateway to the college. And again, we're looking at decomposed granite, native landscape, decorative rock blankets, and then your landform graphics. Whoops. There we go. Sorry about that. So here would be a good look at Avenue K. And again, we've incorporated some short walls in terms of dividing the highway, and then also giving you some relief here with your desert scape and then the rock blankets. Again, all of these things we're trying to incorporate and push the envelope for Caltrans. Sometimes they in terms of the design, they do get a little uncomfortable, but that's okay. We like to make them uncomfortable from time to time, as long as we can push the envelope of what we're trying to accomplish here as a local municipality. see, we've incorporated a treatment on the barrier. So this, typically these treatments, this one in particular has a plane. You'll see some with poppies on it and things like that. Those are all backlit LED, all run by solar. And again, you have the rock blankets, your sparse vegetation. And when we say sparse vegetation, I don't want you to think greens and browns, okay? A lot of the desert scape that we have on our approved list, you will see, we have the yuccas at the top of bright yellow. We have poppies that are going to be interworked in there. So you have oranges, you'll have reds, and things like that. So don't think, a lot of times when we do presentations like this, they say, oh man, it's the desert. You're just going to spray it with hydroseed and you're going to grow tumbleweeds. That's not the case here. So as we move forward to Avenue M, this concept, you can see here here are your roundabouts. And inside those roundabouts, again, we have an opportunity for public art. And then again, this is another one with another freeway on-ramp and off-ramp that has a sizable amount of area where it's going to be covered with decomposed granite and native landscaping, decorative rock. We'll have some rock features here. Here's a before shot, and here's the after. Again, we have a bridge treatment. We have the signs here. Now, again, the signs they're not going to look like that. But we wanted to push the design envelope. So as we dial those things in, currently we're about 30% design complete on Avenue J. We're about 10% on Avenue K, and right around 15% on Avenue M. So as we start to dial these in, right around the 65 to 75 to 75%, then we'll start dialing in the landscape aesthetics and things like that. Where we will do a final presentation to Caltrans for their approval. Avenue L, we're going to straighten out the off-ramps. A lot of that has to do with Avenue L. Currently, it's very green and very lush. When you go out there and take a look, what we're going to do in terms of incorporating the desert scape is you'll see here, here's your before shot, and then here's the after. So yes, it is a striking difference here between the lush green and then the desert scape. The reason why we're doing this again, right? We have water conservation, low maintenance, cost savings throughout with regard to budgetary savings and things like that. Also, on a lot of these on-ramps and off-ramps, we're applying these architectural features as, again, another form of aggressive architecture in order to keep these on-ramps and off-ramps looking pristine. Let's say that. So Avenue G, again, we're out here. You have two roundabouts here and here. Again, there's a public art opportunity. And we're going with decomposed granite. Again, the native landscape, decorative rock blankets, a lot of the same. And you'll see a consistent pattern. We'll have we'll also be looking at the bridge guidelines for bridge railing. In particular with Avenue G, there's a little design difference there on this one. We could either widen the bridge or we could lower the freeway. We're currently working with Caltrans on that in terms of funding, so it could go either way. Widen the bridge or we lower the freeway. Currently, we're not funded, fully funded out of Measure R to complete this project, so we would be looking for help. Avenue G and Avenue M offer a unique opportunity because it's multi-jurisdictional. With Avenue M, we're in partnership with the City of Palmdale and LA County. And Avenue G, we're in partnership with LA County and again, Caltrans because they have oversight. The order of magnitude in terms of the cost estimate, I'm sorry, it's showing up so small, but for each interchange, we're budgeting about $1.8 million. That's strictly for design, engineering, and implementation of the of our landscape design concept. And I'll open it up to any questions that you all may have.
I'd like to start with an initial suggestion. Since both Avenue M and Avenue G are technically avenues to aviation-based destinations, with Avenue G being the off-ramp that you take to go to Fox Airfield for our biannual air show, and Avenue M being the off-ramp that the majority of people take to go to Plant 42 facilities, I would strongly suggest that the treatments for those two ramps reflect that.
Okay.
If it's been considered one way or the other. I think, can't speak for Palmdale, but I guess that I would venture to guess that they would like the same thing. Because you're driving down the freeway and you just see aviation-based details on that over-ramp, you definitely realize, oh, this is where I want to get off.
Right.
So,
Okay.
other than that, I like a lot of it. That was really, right now, it's my only observation.
I have a question.
Yes.
So for Avenue J, am I reading this right? The Avenue J8 off-ramps are going to be eliminated, and they're going to be all on Avenue J, northbound and southbound now?
That is correct. What would be the southbound on-ramp will be removed. Caltrans in their design standards do not allow 2 consecutive ramps within a mile. So as we install Avenue J, we will have to remove the on-ramp at J8. Now, we're not, as it's currently proposed, we're not removing the off-ramp to Home Depot, that location there. Caltrans is they're kind of a unique animal, right? When it comes to getting off freeways, they want everybody to get off the freeways. But when it comes to getting on the freeways, they really have heartburn with installing ramps within a half mile of each other because there's dangerous movements, right? So currently the ramps, the reason why we're coming in here and we're changing the ramp configurations is these are considered high-speed ramp configurations. So the design is to square them up, and then through the utilization of the roundabout signal synchronization and deploying other design measures, that we would be able to, in fact, slow traffic down and at least slow it down and make it safe enough to where it's not backing up on the freeway currently. So I don't know if you guys have traveled along Avenue K, or even if you traveled to the city to the south, right, and you got off on Rancho Vista Boulevard, you can see that there's a lot of backup, or Palmdale Boulevard, Avenue K. A lot of our freeway on-ramps and off-ramps, we're experiencing these high volumes, which is very dangerous. I mean, I'll admit that to you. I don't like sitting out there when I'm not tucked away in the on-ramp or off-ramp situation. So as we go in here with these designs, we're going to try to correct those situations so they don't occur.
So I'm looking at the Avenue J one here, and I'm trying to see how the new southbound on-ramp is going to, where that's going to be. I know there's housing tracks right there, right? Right next to the freeway?
That's correct. So you have the housing tracks here. So right now there's currently a triangular piece of land, and then you have the freeway here. Here's your J on-ramp. Okay, so your question now.
So where is the new southbound ramp going to go?
Okay, so so as we come in, your southbound ramp, your entrance is going to be right here.
There's already a northbound there, right? Is there a northbound? No, that's on J8 as well? No, that's southbound. So there's already a northbound on J, right?
Yeah, so you're northbound.
So just adding southbound. Okay.
And that'll be a big, what they call an infill. So in terms of, we're going to build the freeway. So when we come in and do the ramp, there's actually we'll come in here with a big infill. We're actually going to take the material from J8, okay, this on-ramp here. We're going to take the dirt from there and transport it here to build that future on-ramp.
Wow.
Good way not to waste.
I know, right?
No waste, huh?
Try not to. Try not to.
Nice.
Well, let me ask if I can, April, are you finished?
I'm done.
So that's going to be an on-ramp and not a future park?
No.
Can you explain that?
Yes, sir. We're going to have the on-ramp here.
And the park.
Now, let me see if I can get a better look. Check the slides. Okay. So this would be the northbound side. So if you're reversed and you're looking at the southbound side, you'll have what they call a landform graphic, right? So here's your slope. You'll build the on-ramp, and then just outside of that slope, we'll have the open area that's a potential for a park. So this triangular piece of land
Right.
here, there's a potential for a passive park or something like
Is that Caltrans right away or Lancaster?
Oh, no, that's Lancaster City.
So that would be on Lancaster to put in the park there?
Should it be decided that way? Yes, sir.
Okay.
So is that right? I'm trying to picture that in my head. Is that where there's like a little cut in into the neighborhood right now, and then it kind of turns right, and there's some vacant stuff right there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's correct.
I just want to make sure I had that right in my head.
So on the Avenue J design concept, just to take it a little bit further, since we've kind of stepped from and we've moved from looking at the landscape, we're actually talking about the design. This will be a two-phase design. So we'll go in and do the improvements along the city streets first to have minimal impact to the businesses. And then we'll come in and we will build the freeway section. The reason why we want to do that is if we put the project out as one complete project, then what would happen is essentially we could be detouring traffic away from Valley Center and away from those businesses for a duration of, I believe, up to 9 months. But by breaking the project up, we can now isolate and do the work all the way to the hospital. So from 25th to 15th, we'll be able to go in and do what they call the local improvements while keeping traffic, even though it's detoured, we'll be able to minimally impact the businesses. So we're looking at an impact of 3 to 4 months versus a 9 to 12 month impact. When we come in and build the actual freeway, the freeway on-ramps and off-ramps will effectively be closed at Avenue J completely for the duration of us to go in and construct the new on-ramps and off-ramps. So there will be a full-blown detour. So if you're looking at J, at Avenue I, and then at Avenue K. So this is a major coordinated effort when we come in and we start to take these freeways and close them. You know, again, we can't close consecutive ramps. So while I'm working on Avenue J, I'll be working on Avenue M because I can't work on Avenue K. Caltrans won't allow us to do that. Their traffic division highly frowns upon closing consecutive ramps. So, as well as impeding interstate commerce. So.
Well, let me just say, I think it's a fantastic project. I am disappointed you're taking away my favorite on-ramp on J8. Let me ask you a couple of questions, though. Let's see. The future public art opportunities, that where it says in the plan here, by others, and the secondary directional wayfinding, and then you talked about the signage, that is all funding that's not included in this plan, correct?
That is funding that's included for public art. It is not included. Wayfinding signage is included.
And then the wall art or the stamps, the concrete stamping.
Right. That would be considered in transportation funding, because all they're doing is we're putting in basically a concrete form, we're putting in a form liner and pouring a structural wall.
So that would be Caltrans measure
Yep, Measure R funding.
under the measure? Okay. And then can I talk about the, let's talk about the landscaping. What's the, one of the defining things that I like out here is the Joshua trees. What's the percentage? Are there going to be Joshua trees? I think it highlights that, and compared to other trees, the percentage.
So what we've looked at in terms of implementing Joshua trees, one of the things about the Joshua tree is it's very unique to this area, as you know, and they're very hard to transplant. It's not something that you can go out and take a shovel, dig it out, throw it in a wheelbarrow and move it. You actually have to use a tree spade and you transplant it. Now when you transplant it, one of the issues you run into is you can actually overwater a Joshua tree and kill it, right? So one of the things we've done over here at the J off-ramp, when we actually remove that, that's going to be an area where we're going to look to implement those type things, where we can come in with a big tree spade, and if we have Joshuas in the area that need to be removed, or we find one that we like, we go in there, we'll pick it up, and we'll install it in that location there. So there is a potential to go in there and install those, but we really lean hard on the arborists and the scientists here when it comes to transplanting those, because they're very temperamental in terms of moving them around
Yes.
from place to place.
I can understand that. I think my point of view is, palm trees look great, but they're literally everywhere, and Joshua trees are unique to this area, and I'd impress that if we can make that happen, that a higher percentage of those type yucca plants and such would be fantastic.
Okay.
And then, just one more question. H and I, what happened to, why were those passed over, or just explain that?
Currently, it wasn't included in the original funding for Measure R. Those projects were funded previously by Caltrans, and so we've gone in and done the improvements there that warranted fulfilling the grants that we currently had. So these two on-ramps and off-ramp locations were not considered. However, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be considered in the future. What we're doing is we're establishing this landscape aesthetic guidelines for the entire corridor. So as grants come up and things, as things progress, we evaluate from the capital side any kind of grant opportunity that comes in. We'll look to see if it's feasible, number one. Number two, can we fund it in the budget? And number three, if it makes sense, then we're going to push forward with it. So,
Very good.
answer your question on Avenue I and Avenue H, they're going to follow the same design guidelines as soon as we can get the budget for it. Okay, so that's.
I see.
We pride ourselves on the capital. Just if I can speak for capital for a minute. Capital and both traffic, we pride ourselves on going aggressively and aggressively positioning ourselves to receive the most money from any grant source in order to better, number one, build our streets and roads, but then also we do look at beautifying the city as we go through.
So this landscape plan still needs to be approved by Caltrans?
It's currently
plan
under
itself?
review, and once I've got to make some budgetary changes that are going through Metro right now. So I will update the report that you all have
Right.
to push through. But I would say that it's 99.9% approved.
Okay, so my last question, M to L. You know how the freeway goes, there's an embankment because okay, is there any plans to do those embankments along there at the side of the freeway between M and L?
Okay, so in between the actual freeway and on-ramps and off-ramps, that's Caltrans right-of-way. So that's really a Caltrans question. My immediate response is probably not.
Okay.
So Caltrans leans heavily on what they call hydroseed and spraying hydroseed on the side of the slopes as a form of slope stabilization, and that's really what they lean on. So I'm not sure that, I don't believe that they would come forward with a project to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
I actually have just one question. When you were speaking of the $90.9 million for the total, and you said it would change, do you know an approximate amount how much more it may go up or down? Because obviously it's more than likely going to go up, right?
I'm sorry, I wasn't clear on that. We've currently been approved for $65 million. Okay?
Okay.
So the $30.9 million is being added through Metro as we speak. So what I did when I showed you the budget is I'm showing you what's going to be approved at the next Metro meeting.
Okay, just wanted to be clear on that.
Yes, ma'am. So $90.9 million is the final. Unless we can come up with more, right, Trolleys? So, no comment from the crowd.
Will this be coming back to us with more specifics later?
Yes, ma'am. I would be able to do a presentation later without, again, once we have it approved, I'll be able to move it forward for you all to review. Again, comment. We can take your comments that you currently have and implement them as best we can. If Caltrans, sometimes Caltrans designers say no. So unfortunately, I'd love to go down there and tell them, no, this is the way it is, but
Wouldn't we all?
I have to be careful. I have to be careful.
Anyone else? Is this something we need to vote on, or we just needed to review?
You just needed to review. I do have a speaker card for this item.
Great, okay.
We can call Mr. David Paul up.
Thank you, Mr. Livingston.
Vice Chair and Commissioners, good afternoon. Please let me do this. This is just driving me nuts. It's a little, I won't move it anymore. It's a little off-centered here. But Mr. Livingston, thank you so much for your explanation. And I appreciate your decorum. And, when we talk about aggressive landscaping, this is the thing. I was a witness, went with the city to clean up the Avenue K ramp at one point. And, I thought to myself when I saw the things that were going on there, wouldn't it be so nice if there was just a way to clean this up easily, water channels or something that detoured the thing, because, people are going to go there, and I guess this is designed to have them not do that. So I appreciate that. And I also appreciate what you were saying about Caltrans. And we just came from another meeting where, you have the state, the county, the city, all these service providers trying to give care, and it's sometimes a mismatch of services and stuff, but we have to abide by what they want, and I get that. And so that's the thing I would say, is there any way to make it so these things would be more easily cleaned, especially the Avenue K one, because that is going to be a constant magnet for our underserved population. So, but thank you. And my main reason to come today, that other meeting we were at was a little depressing because it's dealing with issues that affect women. Women get the raw end of it all the time, and I'm very sensitive to that. But I'm so glad that this commission put together a quorum, because that's the thing that I'm pitching, is that I'm asking the council to make me commissioner at large, so that if some of these issues come up where there isn't a quorum, I can come up there being familiar with the ideas and having attended the meetings and stuff to get a quorum so we can proceed. But good job. This is neat. Avenue H is brand new. That's probably why we're not doing anything with that. And those Joshua trees, you have to plant them in the same north, south, east, west orientation when you put them back into the ground, or they'll die. So that's a peculiar requirement. But thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Are there any other speaker cards?
There is another speaker card. There's no name. Not sure. Apparently it's Nicole Parsons.
Hi.
I'm glad you guys put together a quorum too. That was cool. So District 7 was was he working with the disadvantaged, all the disadvantaged stuff, and then so the actual design. This one, it does it incorporates the aerospace highway, and then so there was a park on the side of Avenue K that had and which is the community which I'm trustee from the Bureau, and our family family trust with the husband to the dad to my mama. I mean my the little baby family trust. And so the park right on K has the only thing that I could think of was at Apollo Park and all those things that little kids play on, the playground. So that was in Aerospace Park, and then on 30th and I the Zerb sort of goes into there, and there's. I liked your idea about the Joshua trees. That is really cool. That would bring it all back to our community if we plan on the freeway. And but my question was to you, but you don't have to answer right now. But why did you want in between L and M? But you was just was there something wrong? And then you guys, we can all discuss that later, or whoever can discuss that later, and maybe it has to be written in because I haven't heard anything about why. We should. However, on 30th and there's some oak. There's at least one oak tree or something, and so I just named it Oak Ridge Park right there, because I guess it's going to be a future community, and the bus from the transit, you get off, and then Metro, we're doing stuff. What? I didn't think we had a buzzer or something.
You have 30 seconds, 25 seconds.
So if you like, and so I put the design into for the Lancaster Boulevard because I even watched the cars almost went like this. Just yesterday, I sit there and watch, and there's a Metro design that is going with the restroom, and we all there's also includes the rail design, except you can copy
Thank
this
you for
one,
coming,
and
Ms.
you can give me
Parsons.
a copy back.
Your time is up.
Do you want it? And then you guys can give me a
Sure.
copy back? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Barber. I didn't sign anything.
Okay.
You already signed it.
Have a good night.
But, so can we get it back from?
Do you want it back?
I just needed a copy, and because you guys are going to need it. It's not quite finished, and there's also a design for the undisturbed community when the bus comes from Palmdale. It goes to I and 15 because there's a lot of houses in there, and if they have the college bus, I know it has to be remodeled.
Nicole, I'll make a copy of it. Okay?
Thank you.
I'll sign it though. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
No more speakers.
No more speakers. Okay. So we've already done the public business from the floor then. All right. This meeting is adjourned to Thursday, April 4th, 2019 at 5 p.m. in Lancaster City Hall Council Chambers. This is new. Do I need to read the meeting assistance information?
No, you don't need to read that. That's just on the agenda.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.